Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria 3, where I just realized it's December 27th, 1935, and I'm pretty sure this game ends in 1936. I really hope it doesn't end on January 1st, because that would be really, really awkward. If it did, maybe we'll play out this war if it allows us to continue. I'm sure it would. Paradox games usually do. So fingers crossed on that one. But for the moment, let's go ahead and tick forward and see when the end date is. That would be an important thing to know. Other important things that we can do in this episode is, like, talk about what we've learned, which is a lot. I feel like we're going to be in a much stronger position for our first quote-unquote real campaign. Thanks for having done this. But let's tick on forward here. It's going to end very soon, I think. What is this revolution? Militarized police force only up to 56. Okay, I don't care about that. So we're ticking forward, and yeah, the game ends on January 1st. Continue as observer? We can't make gameplay changes. Wait, so there's no option to continue it. Switch country. North German Federation. Start. Okay, I don't know why they didn't allow us to just continue the game. It feels like that should have a button there. But I guess we can do it this way. So all we're going to do is go to the end of this war, and then we'll just kind of wrap this up. This may end up being a short episode. I don't know how long this war is going to take, but we're going to see here. We've got some awkwardness going on over on this side, so it's fine. What do we have for input goods shortages right now? Opium, to be expected. Artillery, maybe a little less so. And how's our unemployment? 771k. So we've got that under control. I think we've pretty much got a handle on how the economy works in this game at this point, and how the turmoil system affects that. Pro tip, pretty dramatically. So for the moment, we're going to tick on forward here, now that we apparently can do that. And I'm going to zoom out here because the performance is much, much better on about this level than it is when zoomed in a little bit more, for some reason. Now, we're taking some losses over here. That's to be expected for right now. We're just defending this front, so that's okay. And we're just looking to get Austria over here. Now, note that that's separate from Austria. We're getting Austria occupied. And once we do that, we can redirect some of these forces, I hope. Or just end the war. That would be nice, too. So we've definitely learned a few things in terms of resource value as well. Certain resources are a lot more valuable than others. If you're going to do a lot of war, opium. Opium is very, very important. There's no doubt about that. If you are going to go for an economic boom, like we did here, well, resources are not as bad, but oil is incredibly important for that. Oil is important for war as well. Really? It kind of comes down to oil. Okay, so this is fine. We're currently losing cash, and I'm guessing that's probably due to, yeah, goods for military buildings. So we've definitely got, well, unproductive trade routes. We can get rid of all of these. Cool. We've also got insufficient taxation capacity in Bavaria. We should certainly look to fix that with a government administration that was in Bavaria. There we go. What else do we have going on here? Wow, this seems really loud. I don't know why. I don't think it actually is. I think it's normal. I don't know. It just seems loud. Weird. Whatever. Clippers are expensive right now. We've got low market access in a couple of areas. For the time being, that's fine. So it's pretty much just artillery. Okay, so let's go ahead and create ourselves some additional artillery production via arms industries. And how much do we actually need? So we're going to check here. We need a lot, like 2,000. Each one of these, if I recall correctly, produces 40. That's definitely a lot. So if we build 10, that's 400. We know we need like 2,000, so that's 800. That is 1,200. That would be 1,600. 2,000. And then this would be Yeah. We have actually a lot of money in our development fund. So we can take all of these up to level 30 and get some economy of scale going on here. And that'll be fine. Like, we have so much in our investment pool. Cool. So we'll get that underway. And we're continuing to fight over here. We are hoping to get this all occupied soon enough. We are winning this war. Winning. We have not won it. But this is definitely interesting to experience what a bigger war is going to be like. There's a lot of radicalism right now, to be clear. And a big part of that comes down to the fact, oh, we're actually contested government now. Hello. That would be worse. Okay. Can we think about getting higher loyalty? Yeah, but at what cost? I can tell you the cost. It's $1 million per week. Literally. Literally $1 million per week. That's a lot. So obviously we're going over in terms of time, and the game is not necessarily designed to go this far. But that's fine. I just wanted to finish out this war and see how this ends up going. The election results are in, with the Conservative Party winning 61.9% of the vote. We also see a vulnerable front somewhere. Which front is this? Over here. This is split off into a separate front. Okay. I'm going to tell, let's see, this guy to go advance the front over there then. Cool. And we can check in here. We have an unacceptable government. Even though the Conservative Party is in power, they're angry currently. And is that why? No. But we can add in the SDP and the Progress Party while kicking out the Conservatives, who, might I add, won the election. And that would bring us up to a contested government. It's the best we've got. So sure. I don't profess to understand exactly why that's the case, but sure. The Free-Minded People's Party is now back. And that's excellent. So we are looking to get this all under control here. We are winning this war, objectively. And, I mean, we should. We're the #1 power in the world. But we are fighting the #2 and 3 power in the world simultaneously. For the record. Okay, this front just wasn't showing up the way I was expecting it to. Okay, that makes more sense. We now have an advantage over on this front, and we might want to consider shifting over to advancing the front here. We apparently can't do that immediately, but sure. We do have a bit of an advantage going on there. That's looking good. They are almost at 0 war support now. So I will say that the war system in this game does feel a little bit undeveloped from some other Paradox games, but to some degree that's because the point of this game isn't wars. I mean, wars are absolutely something that happened during this era, right? 100%. No doubt about that. And the era was kind of shaped by wars. But the focus of this game is more on the economies. Wars in Victoria are about economies fighting each other more than anything else. So having it be a little abstracted is maybe not necessarily the worst thing, but it's definitely a little bit strange. Wars in this game are very unique from other Paradox games. There's no doubt about that. But we've definitely learned an awful lot about how the economy works, how things are put together in this game, and the interesting consequences of things like that 75% and minus 75% price cap. There are definitely consequences to that. So we're going to start pumping out additional artillery. We no longer have an input goods shortage of artillery, and that's great. And we now have an 87% advantage in the South Tyrol front. Herman, switch over to advancing. Okay. We've also barely taken any population hit from this war. That's a little wild to me too, but there's a lot of radicalism that has brewed up. That's not super shocking, considering this is an offensive war, and we are a democracy at this point. I can't say I'm shocked about that one. Also, it's 1936, and we're Germany. Yeah, it's going to create some problems. There's a peace deal proposed. What are they offering us? They're offering to allow us to conquer the state. We accept. Cool. So are we no longer at war with France and Austria? That is correct. Our war appears to be over. Beautiful. So we managed to take Alsace-Lorraine. That's absolutely great. And that is, of course, what we were looking to do for playing beyond the actual area here. So in future playthroughs, I definitely think we're going to be able to grow our economy a lot faster. I also think we're going to be able to be a lot more aggressive militarily. I think that's pretty clear. I've learned reasonably well how these systems work. With your military, if you want to bring your military up, you pretty much have to come in here and bump this down to whatever type you want it to be. For the time being, it is this. And you can also mix and match with things like flamethrowers and chemical weapons. Yeah, you can definitely do that. I'm sure that there's a way to min-max that, but it's probably not necessary to do, is my guess. We're going to be running electric trains, and this will be, of course, publicly traded for right now. That's a lot more capitalists. We might actually want government run here. Okay. We can go through and set all of these again. I don't think there's a huge amount of point to it. That said, it is quite early in the episode. So we can go down to the automated bakery and we can have this be publicly traded. Most of this we're not allowed to government run, but I'm okay with government running the railroads considering we've been subsidizing them the whole way through. So we'll go ahead and get all of that set up. Beautiful. Urban centers should be state-run churches, I believe. And then we had this on public motor carriages. We had it on electric streetlights, but I believe we couldn't get it to arcades. But I'm going to try taking it to arcades now, and we'll tick forward and see if we can finally make that work. I think the reason that that wasn't working before is probably due to just a number of people. We'll look into that. We'll see if that is in fact what we're going to have happen there. For our logging camps, we'll have chainsaws, rail log carts, and publicly traded. For our iron mines, we definitely do want to actually run oil here to produce that. And that's again something that I will certainly do more extensively early on, is building up our resource production. That's absolutely something that we're going to need. But oil is a huge scarcity in this game. That is definitely something to keep an eye on. And there we go. Cool. Now, keep in mind here that we're also running these tractors here. We should probably run coal-powered tractors, to be honest, not compression ignition tractors. Okay, so we're going to tick on forward here and just keep an eye on our numbers here. Okay. Things are looking decent, to be sure. Let's bump our taxation down at this point. That seems completely safe. And apparently our textile mills forgot about automatic power looms and assembly lines, or I just didn't set these. Hard to say. Now, keep in mind, assembly lines take oil. Oil's tough. So we're actually going to back off of assembly lines to rotary valve engine. Chemical plants can do brine. That's fine. And what else did we have here? Steel mills. Electric arc process for sure, and rotary valve engine. Motor industries, we do want diesel engines here. That's where we want our oil to be going. Bolt action rifles, there we go. That does require some oil as well. Okay, let's take a quick look at our resources that we could build. We could build coal mines. Consider it done. Iron mines. Consider it done. Logging camps. Absolutely. Cool. We can also build some agriculture here. Livestock farms are probably better than wheat farms right now. So we'll get that maxed out. Cool. And there we go. So that construction will happen. Is it just me or is there no music playing? Is that just what happens at this point? Maybe there's no music that plays after 1936. Huh. Well, we'll be ending on January 1st, 1936 normally, so that'll be fine. We're just going beyond it a little bit in this particular situation because I didn't notice that we were like 4 days before then when we ended the last episode. If I had realized that, I probably would have ended this series last episode. But here we are. So we're just going to tick forward a little bit further here. We're definitely going to end the series after this episode. And the question then becomes, are we going to do another run of Victoria 3 with what we've learned immediately? And I think the answer to that is yes. I want to apply some of the things that we've learned. I feel like from the first episode, I've become a more sophisticated player. I wouldn't necessarily call myself sophisticated at this game, but I've become more sophisticated at it than when we started. Which, considering I had absolutely zero experience in it, it makes sense. So our radicals are definitely an issue, and checking in at our... That's a 100% legitimacy government. What? When did that happen? Okay, cool. So we're at 100% legitimacy, which is why our radicals are starting to decline. That's interesting to note. It's definitely easier to get legitimacy as a democracy than as an autocracy. And for this era, that makes a lot of sense. I'm not surprised about that one. We've burned our way through our investment pool. I'm also not surprised about that one. Maybe a little surprised that it took as not long as it did. That was pretty quick, actually. Now, only 25 million in the investment pool, though. Now that I think about it, we do have about 27 million in our gold reserves, though. So this is fine. Running this deficit is completely okay. We're not even going to go into debt, I don't think, before we get all this finished. Let's take a quick look at our unemployment. 2.99 million. That number has jumped upward. And I'm guessing it's because we need to get some migration going down over here. I also think that we need to do some additional railway work. We'll get that going in a moment, but let's get a decree for greener grass campaign in our new location where we know that we're going to have a lot of open jobs. A whole lot of open jobs down here. So we'll get that going, and I do want to also make sure that we're keeping our market access high. So in Baden, in Bavaria, in Rhineland, and oddly, in Mecklenburg. What's going on in Mecklenburg? Need to hire people. Okay, fine. That's fine. 2.85 million unemployed, 2.86. I'm checking on the week tick because the unemployments will tick in on the day tick. On the week tick, we just hit 3.25 million. Okay. So some of this is likely due to our turmoil. That said, our turmoil will improve dramatically. And honestly, since we're planning on ending this episode, I'm going to go up to speed 5. And we're going to tick forward as quickly as we can and just see how far we can get here before it's time to end this. There's only a few minutes left, so that'll be fine. 3.31 million, 3.30 million. Cool. So yeah, our number of radicals is definitely decreasing. There's no doubt about that, and we have low market access in only 4 locations. So, how much turmoil do we have? Questionable practices, huh? The evangelicals are mistreating people in asylums. Or, no, not the evangelicals. Just the asylums are mistreating. The evangelicals are proposing to take it over. Sure. What could possibly go wrong? I'm sure it'll be great. Excellent. So our standard of living has been holding pretty steady. Where is the majority of our unemployment? That is a tool that I do wish that this game had to determine where the unemployment is. But I also want to hop into our buildings here. We are not auto-expanding most of these. Apparently that got turned off at some point. Noted. Probably when we annexed. So we're going to turn that back on, and we will resume our expansions. Cool. Now, the urban centers, they're kind of floundering, to be honest. Yeah, we're better off with them at market stalls. Definitely. No, this seems to be optimal. Okay, cool. So we'll tick on forward with that, and the rest of this is looking okay. We have barely any universities. You know, that's probably something we should invest in later as well. I never really built universities in this game, and that's almost certainly something that we should invest in. So I don't think that we can really expand any of these rurals. We should really probably be keeping these maxed out at all times. And auto-expand our railways. And subsidize all of them. Beautiful. Sardinia Piedmont wishes to join our customs union. Okay. That's these guys. I didn't expect them to actually do anything like that. Fascinating. So they just joined our customs union, and this is not where I wanted to be. They're in the North German market, yes, but I wanted to go to the diplomacy here. Genial and friendly? Oh, that makes sense. That does indeed make sense. I'm going to absolve one of their obligations of us. And they're now at 100. They would not accept being made into a protectorate because they have powerful protectors. Fair enough. France, specifically. Okay, that makes sense. It is interesting that the music completely stopped. I wonder if that's a bug or a feature. I don't know. Maybe trying to convince people to not keep going, but I mean, it's fine. I'm not too concerned about it. This peace treaty is okay, sure. And yeah, overall, we definitely have learned a lot, but there's more to be learned in this game. There's no doubt about that. But we're starting to get a feel for the things that are important, which is how I learn how to play Paradox games. You learn the stuff that's important, you ignore the stuff that isn't, and then you smack around the AI. Probably not so good if I was playing against other players, but I don't tend to do that. I don't think that's particularly fun. Not to mention that it's tough to make the schedule work. So there's that too. This revolution is going to tick up to 52. I don't care about that. We're positive in our finances again. Everything appears to be going smoothly at this point. Our unemployment has started to drop again. 2.74. 2.41. Yep. Our unemployment has begun to drop again. That's fantastic. Our market access is still a little bit on the iffy side, but it's being worked on actively. We have an automobiles input goods shortage. This is something that we can forever work on balancing, right? These input goods shortages and expensive military goods is always something that we can work on. But for the moment, this appears to be going reasonably well. And I think this is probably largely the state we're going to be leaving the North German Federation in for this series. We managed to put it pretty much together. I do really wish that we had figured out a way to get rid of this protectorate status and get these guys annexed. I would have done it militarily if I could figure out an interaction to do it. There just doesn't appear to be one, from what I can tell. I'm probably wrong about that, to be clear. We have no possible diplomatic plays on Scandinavia at all. Wait, do we just not have diplomatic... No possible diplomatic play, but then we have these here. I think things are broken a little bit because we are past the end date, maybe? I don't know. Open market, regime change, make dominion, make puppet. Yeah, those are all fine. We can definitely go after these sorts of things in the future. It's this that I don't know what to do about. Maybe just making Scandinavia into our puppet would do the trick. I don't know. But for the time being, this seems good. Germany is in a very good situation. We've got it pretty much put together. We've got these guys who are functionally our vassals. We've got these guys here who are very happy with us, but they're in that strange protectorate status. If we'd moved faster on our diplomacy in the early game, I think we could have easily had both of those as well. But that's completely fine. And our economy is ludicrously strong compared to everyone else's. Like, we're over 3 times larger economically than Austria. We're double Austria and France combined. Almost double Austria and France combined. So we're doing pretty good there. Our GDP did actually just drop a tiny bit, but that's, I think, just standard fluctuation. No real problems there whatsoever. Belgium wants a defensive pact. Sure, whatever. The game is over. So we're going to be ending it here. We're in a solid situation here. Yes, we pretty much followed history. Other than the, like, political paths, I suppose. We pretty much followed history in terms of our expansion. But that's because I was playing it cautiously and feeling out the sorts of things that we could do. Overall, I think this was a very successful learning campaign. I learned a lot. And now we're going to be ready to dive into something maybe a little bit more complicated and see what we can get done. It's going to be interesting. I'm not sure who we're going to go after, but maybe someone in Africa. We'll see. That'll be something that we'll find out in the next episode. Not of this series, but of the new series. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including Casserole, ALS Gamer, Kentuin, James, Shadowwolf, Mlohan80, Kentogan, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Kadra, Unisol, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time. Ooh, maybe Brazil. That could be fun. Or something in South America. I'll think about it. We'll see what we can come up with. See you all next time.